Now, one of the troubling signs that I'm seeing in this economy is the amount of debt the nation is taking on and the amount of credit card debt that the public is taking on. And at some point, all of this is going to wind up in a crisis. Now, America is accumulating $1 trillion of debt every 100 days, $100,000 of debt every second. Now, think about that, folks, $100,000 every second. And then take a look around. Take a look around in your community at some of these rural areas, at some of these urban areas, and just look at the dilapidation, the infrastructure. And we're spending all of this money and we're not getting much for it. It's going into the military. It's going into politicians' pockets, family members of those politicians. And the average Joe is not seeing it. It's being wasted. Now think about this. America has accumulated $11 trillion of debt in the last 4 years. Now, for the first 220 years of this country, all of those years, 220 years, it took to accumulate the first $11 trillion of debt. And we're going to accumulate $11 trillion of more debt in less than 3 years. And where interest rates are now, what is that going to do? Well, first of all, the public is going to be paying taxes on this debt just to pay off the interest. We're not even going to be hitting the principal. We're not even going to be knocking down the principal in a few years. Now, who is lending us this money? Other countries, China, the Middle East, countries that we own, countries that were in our pocket decades ago. Now we owe them. So we're going backwards here in America. We're spending money like it's out of control, like it's out of style, and we're not getting much for it. The average Joe on the street right now is struggling. And we've got a government that's going into debt of $100,000 every second. And at some point, it's going to become unsustainable. And we're going to have a collapse of the dollar. We're going to have a collapse of this country. And what is all of this going to mean? Well, it's going to mean higher taxes for you. Because who's going to pay for this? Well, the American citizen. So the higher this debt goes, the more burden is going to be put on you. It's going to be put on your children and grandchildren. And I'm not even sure we survive long enough to get to that point. Now, on the other side of the coin, personal debt, credit card debt continues to soar in America, and I'm afraid it's only going to get worse. Now, nearly 10% of all credit card users have a balance that exceeds $5,200, and the household credit card debt in America is now more than $10,000. And to make matters worse, the amount of the public that's paying only the monthly minimum is at a record high and continues to move higher every month. Now, for the first time ever, 25% of Americans have a credit card balance that's over $2,000. And we're going in the wrong direction. Remember, folks, 42 million Americans are more than 60 days behind on their credit card bills. And you take a look at the actual adult population and configure that number in, and we're going to be at a credit card crisis by the end of this year, by the beginning of next year. And everything's going to collapse in all at once. Because once you start missing those payments, that credit score goes down. That credit limit gets cut. And what happens then? Well, then you can't put that electricity bill on that credit card. Then you can't put groceries on the credit card. And you have to start taking money from elsewhere to pay those bills, to pay those necessities. And what happens? Well, you get behind on rent. Maybe you get a pink slip. And if that happens, you're in even bigger trouble because you've got a falling credit score and you're getting handed a pink slip. You're going to be out on the streets. You're going to be headed to a homeless shelter. And that's where we're at in America. We're headed towards a homeless crisis, a credit card crisis, a debt crisis, a commercial real estate crisis, a regional bank crisis. All of these crises are going to hit all at the same time. And in my opinion, it's going to happen after the election early next year. Now, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.